Hello everyone! Welcome for today's vlog. I am Roberto Caliwa and I am excited to take you on a journey through history to better understand our Philippine education system. Education is one of the most important pillars of a nation. It shapes individuals, builds communities, and drives progress. But have you ever wondered how our education system came to be? Why do we follow certain traditions, use specific languages in instruction, or even structure in our schools the way we do? So today, we'll answer two important questions. First, what are the historical foundations of Philippine education? And the second one, how do this historical foundation influence our current education system? By the end of this vlog, I hope we'll all have a deeper appreciation of how history continues to shape the way we learn today. So, let us dive in. Okay, so let us answer the first question. To understand clearly about education system today, we must look back at its historical roots. The Philippine education system has gone through major transformations over time, shaped by different cultural influences and governing powers. So let's break this down into key historical period. So let's start in the year 1521, and that was a pre-colonial period. So before the Spanish arrived, education in the Philippines was informal, but deeply rooted in the culture and tradition. Indigenous Filipino learned through oral teachings, hands-on experience, and community participation. Elders, parents, and tribal leaders acted as an educators, passing down knowledge about farming, fishing, weaving, and even spirituality. Baybayin, our ancient writing system, was used for communication. So this early form of education was practical and survival-based, ensuring that people knew how to thrive in their communities. So after the pre-colonial period is the Spanish era, and that was during 1521 to 1898. When the Spaniards arrived, they introduced a formal structured education system. However, it was primarily controlled by religious orders and was aimed to spreading Christianity. So the school focused on religious instruction, basic literacy, and vocational skills. So the elite, or those Spanish descent, had a greater access on higher education, while most Filipinos had a limited educational opportunities. So during this time, the schools like the Colegio de San Juan de Letran and the University of Santo Tomas, which is the oldest school in Asia, were established. However, education was not inclusive. It was heavily biased towards Spanish interests. But during 1898 to 1946, that was the American period, the Americans introduced a free public school system in the Philippines, emphasizing democracy, science, and vocational education. One of the most significant contributions of this era was the use of English as the primary language of instruction, a practice that continues to this day. Thousands of American teachers, known as the Thomasites, were sent to the Philippines to train local educators and establish a modern education system. Subjects such as math, science, and history became a part of the curriculum, and education became more accessible to all Filipinos. So the goal during this period was to equip all Filipinos with skills that would prepare them for employment and governance under the American rule. Now, let's proceed to post-independence to present. After gaining independence in the year 1946, the Philippine government took full control of the education system. Several reforms were introduced to make education more accessible and relevant to national development. In 2013, the K-12 curriculum was implemented, adding 2 more years to high school to align with global educational standards. Even today, we see continuous efforts to improve education, such as the integration of technology in learning, emphasis on STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, and programs supporting inclusive education for marginalized communities. So now that we understand about the historical foundations of Philippine education, let us answer the second question. Let us discuss how they continue to influence our current system. Now, let's start with the influence on indigenous learning during the pre-colonial era. Even in modern schools, experiential learning or learning by doing still widely used. For example, students engage in hands-on activities in science experiments, agriculture, and technical vocational subjects. Some schools and universities are also working to preserve indigenous knowledge, incorporating subjects related to culture, history, and traditional crafts. Now, let's proceed to the influence of Spanish education on our current system. The Spanish emphasis on religious education remains strong, particularly in private Catholic schools, where subjects like Christian living and values education are part of the curriculum. The structure of formal education with strict discipline and hierarchy is something that can be traced back to Spanish influence. How about the influence of American education? English remains as a dominant language of instruction, particularly in science, mathematics, and even in higher education. This gives Filipino graduates an advantage in global industries, but also presents challenges for those who struggle in English proficiency. The public school system today follows the model introduced by Americans, where education is free and compulsory for certain grade levels. So for modern education reforms or post-independence influence, the K-12 program reflects globalization and modernization, ensuring all Filipino students can compete internationally. The government continues to work on making education more inclusive and incorporating programs for indigenous peoples, persons with disabilities, and despite these historical influences, our education system continues to evolve, balancing traditional values with modern advancements. Okay, to summarize, the Philippine education system has been shaped by various historical influences, from indigenous learning to Spanish religious instruction, American-style public schooling, and modern reforms. We can see how history played a major role in shaping our present day, from indigenous learning to Spanish religious instruction, American-style public schooling to modern reforms. We can see how history has played a major role in shaping our present-day education system. Personally, I believe that while we should appreciate these influences, we must also strive to innovate and improve. Our history provided us with a strong foundation, but education should continuously adapt to the needs of the present and the future generations. For example, while English has given us an edge in global industries, we should also strengthen our use of Filipino and regional languages to promote inclusivity. Likewise, while traditional teaching methods are valuable, we must also embrace technology and modern teaching strategies to make learning more effective. So, what do you think? How has history influenced your own educational experience? Let's start a conversation. Comment down below and share your thoughts. So, thank you for watching. I hope you learned something about our discussion. See you in the next vlog, and let's continue to value and improve our education system. Once again, Roberto Caliwa. Have a nice day.